provision in the EDA. All right, starting again then. Notwithstanding any provision of the EDA bylaws to the contrary, as permitted under Virginia Code Section 2.2-3708.2A3, Albemarle County's Continuity of Government Ordinance, and a declaration of local state of emergency, and the EDA resolution of April 21, 2020, we are holding this meeting by real-time electronic means with no authority member physically present at a single central location. This is because the pandemic's catastrophic nature makes it impracticable or unsafe to assemble in a single location. All authority members are participating electronically. All authority members will identify themselves and state their general physical location during the roll call, which we will hold next. This meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded to the county's website. The public has real-time audio-visual access to this meeting over Zoom and real-time audio access over telephone, both as provided in the lawfully posted meeting notice. The public is invited to offer live comment during the public comment period. Comments are limited to 3 minutes and must be germane to the matters on today's agenda. So let's, Richie, you want to call the roll and we'll identify where people are?
Yes, sir, I will do that. Director Long,
Present in the city of Charlottesville.
Director Ray,
Present in Albemarle County.
Director Shreve, Director Munson,
Present in beautiful downtown Scottsville.
Director Imhoff,
Present in the Samuel Miller District in Albemarle County. I got to one-up you there, Mr. Munson.
Hard to do.
it only gets better. Director McNaughton,
Present, New Jersey Turnpike.
and
right,
let's see,
I'm gonna one up.
Supervisor McKeel, and I know she's here. Supervisor
Wait.
McKeel.
New Jersey is hard to beat.
It is.
District right now is glorious with the reds and golds and the leaves just look great. So
All right, good.
So we have a quorum.
All right, thank you, Richie. Matters from the public. Is anybody signed up to speak? Ashley?
Mr. Chair, there are no members of the public requesting to speak.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to the approval of the minutes. Does anybody have any comments on the minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I move that we approve the minutes.
All right, is there a second? Second.
Second. Did get the mute off, sorry.
Director Imhoff with the second by motion. So all in favor, say aye or raise your hand. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, unanimous. Financial report, since Director Shreve is not present, why don't we pass on that? And if he gets in, we can do that later in the agenda. So let's move on to the director's report. Roger.
Chair Long, members of the EDA, thank you for your time and attention. Today, we're going to cover industrial revenue bond fees. We're going to talk just a short minute about tourism. Economic development has a vacancy. Bonomo's announcement was videotaped. We're going to send that out later, and we're going to talk about a prospective new member of the EDA. So that being said, next slide, Ashley. For your convenience, staff created this chart. Apologize that it's a little busy, but we wanted to walk you through what you're looking at and then talk about what staff's recommendation is and why. This is a side-by-side illustration of the location, an application fee for a bond, an annual fee for bonds, and then an example of how that fee would be calculated if the bond amount was in 30 million, 10 million, or $5 million respectively. So you'll see the locations on the left-hand side, which include the city of Charlottesville, Henrico, Loudoun County, Orange County, Spotsylvania County, and Stafford County. The application fees in Charlottesville range based off of the bond fee, the bond amount itself from $1,000 to $10,000. Henrico's application fees $500, Loudoun's $2,500, Orange County's $500, Spotsylvania $5,000, and Stafford $1,000. And you'll notice at the bottom of the chart, that county staff is proposing an application fee of $1,500 based off of the benchmarking that we completed. In the third column, you'll notice the annual fees, and these are calculated all over the board. We could not find a consistent way that folks went about determining an annual fee for a bond. You'll see they range from $750 to $7,500 per million issued, all the way up to 1% of the first 1 million and 0.5% of the amount over 5 million. So because we had a difficult time coming up with a consistent way of monitoring, we created the examples on the right-hand side so you can see how each of these annual fees are calculated and what that means in terms of annual revenue for the Economic Development Authority is receiving in terms of revenue. So the city of Charlottesville, if they borrowed $30 million, if a private entity or someone else borrowed $30 million using bonds, Charlottesville would get $7,500 annually. Henrico County, $15,000 annually. Loudoun County, $22,500 annually. Orange County, $18,750. And I'm going to pause here on Orange County because you'll know that in Orange County, it's 1/8 of 1% on the declining principal. So what that $18,750 is an average over the life of the bond. It would actually be more in year one and less in the final year of the bond itself, averaging $18,000 a year. Spotsylvania is an outlier. Their fees seem to be exorbitant compared to other localities. Stafford County is $18,750. And we are recommending an example of $22,500 per year. And we came to that conclusion using the calculus of $750 per million issued. I'll explain why that is in just a minute. But if you look at the 10 million, you'll see about the same numbers, just exponentially lower. Oh, excuse me. If you go back, please. 10 million, you'll see the numbers range from 2,500 to 65,000. And then 5 million, they range from 1,250 to 40,000. Our staff decided to benchmark these particular companies, one because Charlottesville is our neighbor, but also we looked at Henrico, Loudoun, and Stafford County in particular. We took a look at their strategic plans to see what they were trying to accomplish. We saw a lot of similarities between their economic development strategies and Project Enable. We thought that their particular fees and structure were consistent with what their economic development strategic plan and what they were trying to accomplish, which includes things like community development goals, for example, and Project Enable is to build a better quality of life for folks here. So we used those three as our primary targets of comparison. And in doing so, we found that the $500 per million issued was the most understandable calculus to do it. But we liked the fees that resulted from Loudoun County, which provides additional revenue for the EDA. So we combined those two strategies where it's $750 per million issued, and it results in a greater return to the EDA in terms of financial monies that you can do some other things with, but at the same time, it does not serve as a barrier to future use of these particular bonds. So that being said, I'll pause here and staff is ready to entertain any questions you may have about our recommendations.
I have a question, Roger. Under the city of Charlottesville's fee system, they've got $750 per 1 million issued. So for $30 million, it shouldn't be 7,500, should it?
Yeah, well, so their fees increase as their total amount of funds are utilized. So it'd be 750 per million issued, but if you'll go above, and I don't have it in front of me, I can certainly find that information and we can pull it up here in a minute. In fact, JT, if you would be so kind to locate the email we received from the city of Charlottesville and pull that up, and I'll show you how they calculate that, George. It may take us just a minute. We may have to hop back to it. But as they increase the amount of bonds financed, their fees actually change. And that's why you see the number 750 to 7,500. And I'll show you the fee schedule they have in a minute.
Minimum, it should be 22.5.
Well, I hear what George is saying. Let's let me see if I can find that. I'm sorry I didn't have that handy. I wasn't ready for that detailed question. JT, were you able to find the email from Chris by chance?
Is
So
this
you
the,
see, this is their actual fee schedule, George. So the 7,500 is if they borrow 20 million or more, it's 7,500. If you borrow less than 2.25 million, it's 750 annually.
Okay,
So it's where it's misstated, it's not per million, it's a flat fee
Yeah,
for a certain tranche or category of
Right.
yeah, it's
bond.
bad
Yeah,
word.
I got you. Okay.
and I'll stop sharing this so we can go back to,
Ashley, if you'd share your screen
Ashley.
again. So other questions?
In general, I've looked at this before and but it would be good to see it and hear it again because I don't recall exactly what I saw. But what's the average bond interest rate bonus, I guess you might call it, that we offer for the average bonds that pass through?
Yeah, you know what? We can calculate that information and bring it back, Director Shreve. I'll also just mention that one of the benefits is just not the interest rate, which is going to be lower than your standard financing. It's also the tax exempt nature of it. It's
Sure.
helpful. So it's a combination of those two, and we'll bring that information back at the next.
Yeah,
meeting.
and turn the latter item into a interest rate equivalent if you could, just to give us a single number to fix on. And my interest here would be that, and it doesn't look like any of these fees, except for Spotsylvania perhaps, would seriously change that dynamic for any potential borrowers, which is something I think we should consider.
Yeah, in fact, if you'll look at the actual resolution, we included that as a rationale for changing the fees because it will not serve as a barrier. It'll be, these fees are usually less than the legal fees the folks pay the bond counsel themselves.
And I mean, I think really the competition is not so much on is that issue as it is if they get so high, then they'll just go to a different locality, especially when it comes to the ones that they don't have to be locally placed. You know, if you're doing nonprofit EDA financing, you can get it from any EDA
Right,
in the state,
right.
so you can very easily go. I can tell you that for the bank, for like on the bank qualified ones, the discount is 20% because it's basically the amount that the taxable amount that the banks would pay. So they just take that and reduce it to 80% of what the taxable rate would be. Now, I don't know for other types of, for non-taxable bonds, I guess that's not an issue. It's just getting the benefit of a public market in some cases.
Right.
So I don't have any questions. I guess the practical aspect of this is we potentially have a bond issuance coming up. And so I don't know, Roger, are you recommending that we go ahead and adopt the fee structure today?
I am
and then-
recommending, staff is recommending that. And actually, if you'll go to the next slide, I'll let you guys read this to make sure.
There it is.
Actually, I do have a question. The $1,500 application fee, do you think that is I assume you think that is a reasonable estimate of the cost of dealing with this process? Because I don't have an issue making that higher if we think that the sort of staff time is more than that.
No, so I feel like that's a reasonable amount of effort that's going to be put forth by the county as it relates to actually accepting the application itself. And again, we did not want anything to serve as a barrier, as many of these bonds are for a public good.
Yeah, as such, you really shouldn't even consider it in terms of a perfect user fee. It should be nominal, I think.
Should be enough to build a nest egg so we can help other people.
So I guess the question I'll ask first, I'm certainly I'm supportive of these numbers, and obviously we can revisit them at any point if we decide that somehow that we don't think they're accurate. Does anybody have any concerns about proceeding and adopting a fee schedule at this meeting, so we at least have something in place that's more definitive than what we have now?
I have just one question, and that is, let me direct it to you, Don, since you brought the matter to our attention. Do you see any disharmony here with such a rate structure as it plays out in this, dynamic between, say, a nonprofit organization shopping around, or would this be a negligible factor?
I mean, in my experience, for these sorts of transactions, this amount is not an issue. As Roger pointed out, I mean, the legal fees on these things far exceed the costs of the kinds of numbers we're talking about. And the interest rate benefits that they get will not outweigh those.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the EDA adopts this resolution amending Article 4 of the Rules and Procedures.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a second. Is there any further discussion? All right, so no further discussion. All in favor of adopting the resolution?
Can we do a roll call?
Aye.
Can we do
Oh,
a
you want a roll
roll call?
call? Okay.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and call it. Let's see. Director Long,
Aye.
Director Ray,
Aye.
Director Shreve,
Aye.
Director Munson,
Aye.
Director Imhoff,
Aye.
and Director McNaughton.
He seems to be.
Can't
gone
believe
through
they
a
don't have.
tunnel.
Yeah, I can't believe they don't have coverage, but maybe not in the tunnels. So without it, it's still unanimous. I'll just note them as not voting. One other quick thing, Mr. Shreve, I know
Yes.
that you're here. Where are you located?
Albemarle County.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, everyone. All right, Roger, on to the next item.
Seems after 2 years, I would learn to use the unmute button. I want to talk just a little bit about tourism. As I think I mentioned a meeting or two ago, the tourism adopted a new marketing campaign called Historic Vines and New Roots. And the general idea is moving away from history as our leading attractor to the wineries being our leader attractor. And now that when you get here, you can obviously see all the history as well. Next slide, please. But I thought it was be interesting to this group to see what's happening this fall with tourism, because it sort of speaks to what's happening to the economy in general. So from September the 26th to November the 6th, the start of this fall season, if you will, the occupancy rate in Albemarle County for proper is 74%, which is usually below what we normally find. And I'll talk about that in just a minute. However, the average daily rate is $168 per room, which is significantly higher than historical averages. Combined, those two numbers that I just spoke to create something called RevPAR, or a standard metrics that is used in the industry for revenue per room. And that number is $125.36 per room. What this means for our community is that the tourism sector this fall is off to a very strong start. In fact, it's so strong that it exceeds previous 2019 levels in many indicators. And our 2021 numbers overall are now approaching our 2019 pre-pandemic numbers, meaning
Wow.
tourism is back and it's coming back with a vengeance at this particular time. In fact, the average daily rate, the $168.28 per night on average, is 25% greater than the second district in the Commonwealth. So we're 25% higher in our average daily rates per room than the second closest region across the Commonwealth altogether. Now, some of that has to do with our labor shortage in this particular industry. Because there's a labor shortage, there are some hoteliers who can't open up all their doors and provide the level of service that they want to provide. So they don't offer some of their rooms up for occupancy. However, I wanted to make you aware that this is happening across the industry, and that is that pay is increasing. We don't have a dollar figure to share with you at this time. Speaking with the CACVB Director, Courtney Kakacian, she told us that this is a general conversation that they have with the hoteliers on a regular basis. And it's increasing so much so that in many cases, the pay is over $15 an hour now. And we're talking about housekeeping staff, barkeepers, baristas, whatever the case may be, that is in this particular industry. They're increasing significantly, almost to the point now that they can provide a living wage, which is a lot different than what has historically happened in that particular industry. And I'll just say anecdotally, again, that this is not necessarily just related to the tourism industry. It's hospitality in general, whether it's restaurant, wait staff, and so forth. Pay increases are happening across the board as a result of the labor shortage. So I'll pause here and see if you have any questions or comments about the tourism sector.
Wow.
My only comment would be, I guess it doesn't matter because anybody can meet with us because of virtual meeting, but because Susan Payne, who is chair of Virginia Tourism Corporation's here in town and, is quite knowledgeable about the Charlottesville Albemarle region, I think it'd be really important at some point to invite her just to have a chance to talk with the EDA. And I don't disagree with you at all, Roger, about how the industry is really changing, and we've got a really strong play here with the vineyards and events. That I think it'd be interesting to hear from her as well, what other trends they see and what kind of resources may be coming out of VTC in the near future.
Okay. I'll speak a little bit to the VTC. They actually are offering several different grants right now to support building new programs or events that can encourage tourism. And additionally, that's through the VTC. And additionally, there's American Rescue Plan funds that are coming directly to the city and the county. And we're working with the CACVB to create a plan that spends those funds appropriately. That's still going through the grant process and board approval and et cetera. But yeah, we are actually tapping into some of those VTC funds as we speak, Director Emhoff. But we can certainly bring some more information back along with checking on the availability of Susan Payne.
Roger, do you know if Courtney or anyone else collects information on the buyers of the hotel rooms? And I'm wondering about price elasticity, whether these are all.
In fact, they do capture some of that information, but not all of it, meaning that if someone goes through their process, they capture that information when their process being the website where they get referred to a hotelier and they use the CACVB system, they're able to track some information and data related to those, but not necessarily somebody who goes directly to a hotel and purchase it independently. So they have some data, but it does not necessarily reflect all the data. But I will say this, I asked that very question, Director Shreve, about the elasticity of the ADR, and she does not believe that 168.28 is sustainable just because it so far exceeds the other rates across the Commonwealth. It just happens that this was a combination of Virginia football, fall foliage, as well as people having a desire to get out of their house. And then there's also some other small local events that have brought people in for overnight stays as well. So the ADR, she does not believe is sustainable. We'll have to
Yeah, I suspected as much, but I guess what I was getting at is whether or not they collect data on simple categories such as commercial buyers versus, folks in town on a convention or with a business, or those who are just families coming to visit, or individuals. So
no, they don't have that level of granularity. I do know that the CACVB is contemplating a product called Zartico, which tracks the movement of people once they come into our community. So that we'll be able to track not only to some degree, we won't know, by who it is, but we'll be able to track folks to determine when they come for a football game, where else do they go? Or when they come for a winery, where else do they go visit? So we can track the flow of money if that's approved by the CACVB. So that'll give some unique intelligence.
all hotel properties in the jurisdiction contribute data, or are there some folks that don't? Do you know?
Yeah, there is a thing called an STR or a STAR report where the properties all across the region provide information to a questionnaire, and it's confidential information because it has hotel specific data, but all that information is compiled to provide this. And so it's not all folks, it's all folks in the Charlottesville, Albemarle area, which I believe sometimes extends a little bit up into Greene County.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll be happy to bring back a STAR report and have it redacted whenever Ms. Payne comes to join us. Next slide, please. As you guys heard from the last meeting, Jennifer Schmack, who was our economic development project manager, left the organization. She became the economic development director at Fluvanna County. Staff had already begun, and the county executive's office was in support of a reevaluation of all the positions within economic development. And so there's two things to announce there. One is JT has a new title. His new title is JT, you want to share your new title?
It's business development manager.
So congratulations on that. And then secondarily, the vacated position has changed from project coordinator to economic development senior business manager. So that will be a vacancy that we'll fill hopefully in the not too distant future. I want to let you know that our Office of Community and Public Engagement created a video for the Bonamos announcement. I know many of you were unable to attend. We were going to try to show that today, but recognize that showing a video tends to overwhelm folks' technical capability from time to time. So we're going to send out a link to that particular video, and you can watch that at your leisure. And the last thing we wanted to make you aware of is John Matola, who's the Chief Operating Officer of Perron Robotics, was appointed as the Whitehall District Economic Development Authority Director. Mr. Matola is not here yet today. He has to first go through a swearing in ceremony. As soon as that happens, he will attend the meeting that follows. So
that's great. So back to the job. Have you guys posted that job? Is there a description or anything out there now?
it is not currently posted, but we will do so in the coming weeks.
Roger, who was the old Whitehall director?
We haven't had one since oh shoot.
I don't recall.
Dave Mellon, I think, was the other one.
Okay, all right, okay, yeah. That's been vacant a long time.
Yeah.
Couple of years anyway, right?
Yeah, I would think so, yeah.
Well, it would have been probably just less than just about 2 years, because it was the time they had to fill out the first financial report.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So anything else, Roger? Should we jump back to the financial report really quickly before?
If Mr. Shreve's ready, we can do that now. If not, we will postpone it until after closed session.
You ready, Dave?
Yeah, I apologize for jumping in late. I had trouble finding the link. I was looking in my wrong mailbox. So for our financial report, which is fiscal year through Halloween, 10/31/21, I'm reporting operating revenues, $30,564.61 against operating expenses, $25,675. 25,000 of which went to the CIC grant, netting us thus far for the fiscal year $4,889.61, which gives us a current cash balance as of 10/31 of $761,401.27. I should also note we've had pass-through funding and pass-through expenditures thus far in the fiscal year, 7,000 in housing funds in pass-through income, and 8,000 for Willow Tree and 3,000 for Afton Scientific going out, totaling 11,000 for a net negative 4,000 in pass-through funds, which combined with our net balance of revenues and expenditures, leaves us with $889.61 net for the fiscal year. And then the last figure I should report is we have 156,400 in committed funds outstanding.
All right, any questions? Comments? Thank you, Dave.
Mhm.
All right, so I think we are ready to, unless there's anything else, we'll go into the closed meeting. I move that the Albemarle County Economic Development Authority go into a closed meeting as authorized by the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, Section 2.2-3711A of the Code of Virginia, under subsections 5 and 6 to discuss and consider the expansion of existing Albemarle County businesses, projects Poma, Cardinal, Gadget, Cavalier, and Stark, where no previous announcement has been made of their interest in expanding their facilities in Albemarle County, and where the investment of public funds to support such expansion involves bargaining, and if made public initially, would adversely affect the financial interests of the EDA and/or Albemarle County. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. It's unanimous.
So Chair Long, we have a somewhat of a process change. JT is going to email everybody a new link. We had to disable chat to be consistent with the new policy to comply with both FOIA as well as some inappropriate things that have happened, including the bombing of meetings. So everybody will get a chance to leave the meeting, go to your email. JT is going to send you a link to the closed session, and then he'll send you another link at the conclusion of the closed session to turn back here. So if everybody will leave and check your email, that would be great.
And JT, remember I'm on a different email because I lost my Gmail account.
Okay.
Ran afoul of Google.
Were you able to receive the?
I was able to receive the one that went to PEC. So usually I do this off my private email, but I disappeared, David, my Gmail account today. It's gone, completely gone.
Up in smoke.
JT,
Yep.
I'll forward that email address to you in just a second.
Okay.
Great. Thank you all. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
So JT, I should stop sharing here, correct? And then move on into the closed meeting?
I would please leave this up for members of the public that
Okay.
are-
I'll connect on my phone for the closed session. How about that?
yes, that'd be great.
Sure.
JT, I don't have an email from you. Are you sending it to Albemarle?
Yes, let me double check.
I'm looking at my Albemarle and I don't, unless I'm missing it.
I am going to send the information to both you and Director Imhoff right now.
Okay, great. Thank you. You know, D. McKeel.
Just want to make sure you got the email, JT.
Yeah, I'm not getting it. I don't know.
Yeah, hold on just 1 second. It is coming
Oh, okay.
right now.
I'm too anxious. I just hate to slow everybody down.
I completely understand. I'm with you. And Diantha looks good.
Do we have everybody now? I think we do. All right, so I will read the closed meeting certification. I move that the EDA certify by recorded vote that to the best of each director's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act and identified in the motion authorizing the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered in the closed meeting. You gonna call the roll?
Mark. Yes, I'll do it. Okay, so and I'll just note that Director Long did not participate in the discussion on Project Cavalier. For other matters, Director Long,
Aye.
Director Ray,
Aye.
Director Shreve,
Aye.
Director Munson,
Sorry, aye.
Director Imhoff,
Aye.
and Director McNaughton. Did he participate? Or is he in a
He wa-
tunnel?
He was in the closed session for a time.
Was in the closed session. But he is not, I guess, currently on. So I guess if he joins,
I'll just note that he did not return to open meeting. That's
yeah.
fine.
And Ashley, if he comes in, you can let us know. All right. Any unfinished business? All right. And then the next is the scheduling. Normally our meeting would be the 22nd. And I guess the question is, do we have, I know Kat has a conflict on the 14th. Do others want to move the meeting up? Do we want to leave it on the 21st? They're feeling one way or the other.
It helps that we're doing this via Zoom and makes it a little easier, you know. But
I'll be around, so it doesn't matter to me. I do know that we've got a potential bond presentation, and I think, did they want to move it up? I can't remember. They didn't care.
They didn't care. I think they were mostly concerned with making sure we accomplished the public hearing as quickly as possible to lock in rates and the process itself.
Okay, so it doesn't really matter. I guess, Kat, are you available on the 21st though?
Yeah, I am available on the 21st, but if you can get a quorum for the 14th and you want to get the bond locked in, it is 2 weeks later, so I'm apologetic to that, or 1 week later.
It's one way. I mean, I'm not sure that that's going to make much difference. Does anybody else have a conflict on the 14th? I guess as I say that, I should look at my calendar.
Doesn't matter to me.
I'm good.
yeah, I can go either way.
Yep, me too.
Yeah, I can do it. Why don't we go with why don't we move it to the 14th? And that will be an excused absence for Kat, since we have moved the meeting and she was available for the regularly scheduled meeting. So why don't we do that? We'll plan on meeting on the 14th then.
Can you send some sort of a meeting invitation or email to that effect?
We'll take care of that, Director Munson.
Okay, great. Thanks. Just want to make sure I get you on my calendar.
Yeah. All right. Any other comments, questions? All right. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate your attendance and your help.
Have a lovely Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So
You.
Take care,
Thanks,
y'all.
everyone.
All right.
Have a
Bye.
nice night.